Part 2. Where were you last Friday? I asked softly, too softly. She froze like a deer in headlights. I told you, she whispered. I was at work. No, I said. You told me you had a last-minute meeting. You said you left your phone in the car by accident. You said you got home late because of traffic. She nodded quickly. Too quickly. That's all true. But the way her voice shook said it wasn't. Look me in the eyes, I said. She did slowly. What happened last Friday? Her lip trembled. She looked like she might faint. It wasn't what he made it sound like. Then what was it? She swallowed hard. I panicked, okay? I got another message from him. A picture. Of me entering my car. Alone. But the timestamp, it was wrong. It said I took the picture 2 minutes before he sent it. Like he was right there. Okay, I said carefully. Keep going. I freaked out. She said. I couldn't drive home. I didn't want him following me to our house. So I parked near the river and stayed there until I calmed down. That's it. Alone? I asked. Yes, she said. Alone. But the hesitation, barely half a second, stabbed me. You hesitated. She shook her head. No, I didn't. You did. Why? She covered her mouth with both hands. I didn't want to tell you the rest because you'll take it the wrong way. What happened? I wasn't alone the whole time, she whispered. A hot wave shot through my chest. Who was with you? She looked away. It wasn't like that. Who? She closed her eyes. It was Mark. My heart almost stopped. Mark. My friend. My coworker. The guy who had dinner at our house 2 weeks ago. You were with Mark last Friday? I said, my voice cracking with disbelief and something dangerously close to rage. She held up her hands quickly. It's not what you think. He saw me crying in my car at work and followed me out to check if I was okay. I swear I didn't ask him to come. I didn't even want him there. And what happened? He talked to me. That's all. He tried to calm me down. He stayed until I felt safe enough to drive. My stomach twisted. And why didn't you tell me? Because I knew how it would look, she cried. Me hiding in a dark parking lot with another man while ignoring your calls? I panicked. I told one lie, and then I couldn't go back. I closed my eyes, trying to breathe. And all this time you let me think I was the crazy one, I whispered. She grabbed my arm. I swear nothing happened. I wasn't cheating. I wasn't even thinking about him that way. I was terrified, and he showed up at the wrong moment. I shook my head slowly. And then Elle found out. She nodded, tears spilling. He sent me a picture of Mark's car parked behind mine. Then he sent a message saying, now he knows too much. I thought Elle was going to hurt him. I didn't know what to do. I pressed my palms to my forehead. And you still didn't tell me. I didn't want you to hate me. I laughed. A bitter, broken sound. Hate you? I just want the truth. She took a trembling breath. You're not the one I was hiding it from. I stared at her. She whispered. I was hiding it from him. Elle? I asked. No. She wiped her tears and whispered the words that made my blood run cold again. From Mark. From Mark? I repeated quietly, the name suddenly tasting wrong in my mouth. She nodded slowly, eyes wide with fear. What does Mark have to do with any of this? She stepped back, hugging herself. There's something you don't know about him. Clearly, I snapped, before I could hold it back. She winced. But she didn't deny it. I didn't want to tell you because I knew it would destroy your trust in him, she whispered. And in me. What did he do? Nothing, at first. She swallowed. But then he started acting strange. Subtle things. Not enough to accuse him, but enough to scare me. What things? She looked down at her hands. Little comments. About my schedule. About where you and I go on weekends. About things he shouldn't know unless he was watching. My chest tightened. You're saying Mark is stalking you? She shook her head hard. No, not stalking. Just paying too much attention. Then what? She hesitated. And that hesitation, long, slow, trembling, made my blood turn cold. I think he knows Elle. I stared at her. What? She nodded. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't even consider it until Elle sent that photo of the two cars. But then I remembered something. What? She took a shaky breath. When I told you I was working late last week? I wasn't working. I was leaving early. And when I walked out into the parking garage, Mark was there. Just standing by his car. But when he saw me, he smiled and said he was waiting for a friend. So? I asked. So, she whispered. It was the exact same night Elle sent me a message saying, I'm closer than you think. A chill crawled up my spine. You're saying Mark might be Elle? She shook her head instantly. No. No, Elle's voice was older. Different. And Mark is too obvious. And too scared. Whoever Elle is, he's calculating. Organized. Mark is a mess. Then what is Mark? I demanded. She hesitated again. Someone who knows too much. Someone who got too close. Did you tell him anything about us? I asked sharply. No. I swear. But he knew more than he should. He'd finished my sentences. He'd mentioned things I hadn't told him. He once asked if you still had that old scar on your shoulder. I stiffened. How would he know about that? She shook her head helplessly. I don't know. I felt my pulse thundering. Did you ever tell him about Elle? No, she said. But after last Friday, I think he figured something out. What makes you think that? She looked down and whispered. Because he told me to be careful who I trust. My stomach twisted. And then, she said, voice shaking, he said a sentence that made my blood freeze. What did he say? She met my eyes. He said, some people aren't who they pretend to be. I felt the hairs on my arms rise. And then he added, I'm telling you this because I care. I swallowed. And how did he act after that? She took a step closer. He kept watching me. From a distance. Not talking. Not approaching. Just watching. Like he was waiting for something. For what? Her voice cracked. For me to choose a side. I felt a chill settle deep into my bones. And that's why I panicked last Friday. Mark was there. Elle was messaging me. I felt trapped. I didn't know who was dangerous. I didn't know who was lying. I didn't know who wanted to protect me and who wanted to destroy everything. And now? I whispered. She hugged herself tighter. Now I think both of them know we're talking. How? She pointed at her phone. Another message had appeared. From Elle. I picked it up. And read. You shouldn't have told him about Mark. Now he'll start asking the wrong questions. And the wrong questions lead to very real consequences. My hands went numb. What does he mean by consequences? I whispered. She took a shaky breath. And whispered. I think he means tonight. Her hands were shaking so badly she couldn't even put the phone back in her pocket. I took it gently from her and slid it into my own jacket. No more hiding things from me, I said. We face this together. She nodded, but I could see she was terrified. Do you think he's actually watching us right now? She whispered. I scanned the empty street. The parked cars. The dark windows above the cafe. The alley across from us. Everything suddenly felt dangerous. I don't know, I said honestly. But I'm not taking chances. She stepped closer to me, like being near me kept her grounded. I'm scared, she admitted. So am I whispered. Silence hung between us, thick and cold, until she finally exhaled and said, "There's something else you need to know." Of course there was. At this point, I almost expected it. "What is it now?" I asked softly. She looked down at the pavement. "My past with Elle, it wasn't what I told you. I wasn't honest. Not fully." I felt my heartbeat stumble. "You said you barely remembered him." "I lied," she whispered. "I didn't want you to judge me. Or think I was involved in something dark." "Dark?" I repeated. She nodded. "I met him years ago. Before you. I didn't know his name then. He used a different one. And he wasn't like this. He wasn't threatening. He wasn't manipulative. So what was he?" Her answer made my stomach twist. "He was charming." My breath caught. But unstable. He'd swing between kindness and obsession. And I was too young to understand how dangerous that was. When I tried to pull away, he snapped. He told me I'd regret it. That he never forgets people who abandon him. I clenched my jaw. "And you think this, everything he's doing now, is revenge?" She nodded. "I'm sure of it." I took a step back. "So you knew exactly who he was from the start?" "No," she said quickly. "Not until he sent that first message. His tone, his phrasing, that's when it clicked. That's when I knew. And you didn't tell me because I thought he'd back off if I didn't provoke him." She wiped her eyes. "And because I was ashamed I ever got involved with someone like him." I exhaled through my teeth. "And Mark?" I asked. "How does he fit into this?" She hesitated. "I think Mark recognized Elle before I did." "What do you mean recognized?" I demanded. "Have they met?" "I don't know," she whispered. "But the way Mark watched me, the way he watched us, it felt like he knew something." She shook her head. "Or someone. And what made you think they're connected?" She pointed at the street. "That car." I turned. Across the road, half hidden under a dead street lamp, was a dark SUV. Windows tinted. Engine off. It hadn't been there earlier. "Do you recognize it?" I asked. She nodded. "I've seen it outside my office 3 times." I felt my chest tighten. "And once," she whispered, "outside our house." My heart pounded. "Whose car is it?" I asked. She swallowed. "I don't know." A beat passed. Then she added, "But Mark drives the same model." My blood froze. We both stared at the SUV. Motionless. Dark. Silent. "Let's get out of here," I said. "Now." We turned to walk toward the parking lot. And that's when the headlights of the SUV flicked on. Bright. Blinding. Suddenly flooding the whole street. She gripped my arm. "What do we do?" she whispered. I swallowed hard. "We don't run," I said. "We don't show fear." The headlights didn't move. Didn't dim. Didn't blink. Just stared at us like eyes. "Is it him?" she asked. I had no idea. But the hairs on my arms stood straight up. "We're leaving," I said firmly. "Stay close." We turned to walk toward my car. And that's when the SUV engine roared to life. She gasped. I grabbed her hand. We walked faster. The SUV crept forward. Slow. Predatory. Silent except for the low growl of the engine. "Don't look back," I whispered. "I can't help it," she said, trembling. We reached my car. I unlocked it with shaking hands. She grabbed the door handle. And then her phone buzzed again inside my jacket. A new message. I pulled it out. The message said, "Don't go home. You're not alone there." I felt the blood drain from my face. "Who sent it?" she whispered. I turned the screen toward her. From Elle. And then another message came through immediately after. 4 words. 4 words that made my heart stop. "Check your house cameras," My hands trembled as I opened the home security app. She pressed closer to me, her breathing sharp and fast. The feed loaded. One camera. Then another. Then another. Living room. Kitchen. Hallway. Front porch. Backyard. All normal. All empty. All still. Maybe he's just messing with us, I whispered. But before she could respond, one of the feeds flickered. Just a glitch. Then another flicker. Then a third. What's happening? She asked, panic rising. I don't know. A few seconds passed. Then the hallway camera went completely black. Static. Dead. Her hand flew to her mouth. Try the upstairs one, she whispered. I switched to the upstairs hallway camera. It loaded, but the image was wrong. Dark. Blurry. Tilted. Like someone had touched it. Moved it. Why is it angled like that? She asked. I swallowed. And then, a shape moved. Just a shadow. Just a flicker. But it moved. What was that? She cried. I leaned in. Another flicker. A blurred figure shifted toward our bedroom door. My heart hammered. No, she whispered. Oh God, no. Maybe it's the lighting, I said, trying to believe it myself. But then the figure stepped fully into view. Tall. Male. Wearing dark clothes. Face obscured. Standing in our home. In our hallway. Right outside our bedroom. She gasped so hard she nearly fell. Oh my God, someone's in the house, someone's in the house. Her voice broke. I grabbed her shoulders. We're not going home, I said sharply. We're calling the police. But before I could dial, the man in the hallway turned. Slowly. And looked straight at the camera. Not like he stumbled into frame. Not like he was caught off guard. He stared into it. Like he knew we were watching. Her knees buckled. Who is that? She whispered. I zoomed in. The figure didn't move. Didn't blink. Just watched. The camera glitched again. Static. Black. Then clear. And that's when the figure lifted something into frame. A sign. A piece of paper. With 4 words written in thick black ink. You're too late. My chest tightened so violently I thought I might pass out. The screen suddenly cut to black. All feeds offline. Every camera. Dead. Gone. She grabbed my jacket with shaking hands. Call the police, she cried. Now. Please. I reached for my phone. And froze. Because her phone buzzed again. Another message. I tapped it open with trembling fingers. It was a picture. Of the man inside our house. Standing at the foot of our stairs. Looking up. But this time, the picture wasn't taken from a camera. It was taken from someone's phone. Someone inside. The angle was wrong. It was too close. Too personal. Too deliberate. Someone was behind him when the picture was taken. And the caption said, "He shouldn't have come here alone." My voice cracked. Alone? She looked at me, pale as paper. What does that mean? She whispered. Another message came through. 5 words. 5 words that made my knees go weak. Ask her who has a key. She gasped. A soft, broken sound. I turned to her slowly. And she whispered, "There's something I never told you." What do you mean there's something you never told me? I asked. She backed away like she suddenly couldn't bear to be near me. I didn't think it mattered, she whispered. When it involves someone being inside our house, I said sharply. It matters. She swallowed hard. A long time ago, she began. Before we were married, I gave someone a key. My stomach dropped. Who? I demanded. She closed her eyes. My sister. I stared at her. Your sister? Why would? She was going through a breakup, she said quickly. She needed a place to crash sometimes. I didn't want her alone. So I gave her the spare key. But after she got back on her feet, I never asked for it back. I blinked. And you never thought to mention this? I forgot, she insisted. I honestly forgot. She never used it again. At least, I thought she didn't. I rubbed my temples. So you think your sister might be the one in the house? No, she said quickly. No. She moved 3 states away. And she'd never scare me like this. Then who? She shook her head helplessly. I don't know. Maybe she lost it. Maybe someone stole it. Maybe someone found it. Maybe someone took it from her, I said. She went pale. That's not possible. Why not? She hesitated. Then whispered. Because she doesn't know anything about Elle. She doesn't even know he exists. And what does that have to do with? She didn't know about him, she repeated. But he knew about her. My chest tightened. How? He once sent me a picture of her car, parked outside her office. My blood ran cold. You're telling me he stalked your sister too? She shook her head. No. I think he was warning me that he knew where my family was. That he could reach them if he wanted to. She wrapped her arms around herself. And now someone's in our house with a key. No, I said. Someone is inside our house because he wanted us to know he could get inside. She whispered. Do you think Ella's in there? I stared at the offline camera feed. I don't know. But whoever's inside, he wants us scared. She took a shaky breath. What do? We don't go home. Not until police arrive. She nodded. I dialed. She held her breath. But before the call connected, her phone buzzed again. Another message. I opened it and felt every muscle in my body go rigid. It was a live photo of our living room. Lights on. Couch cushions torn open. Drawers pulled out. And standing in the middle of the room. The same man. But this time his face was visible. And I recognized him. I froze. She saw my expression and grabbed my arm. Who is it? She whispered. Do you know him? My voice barely came out. It's him. Him who? I swallowed hard. It's Mark. She recoiled like she'd been slapped. No. No, that's not possible. That can't be him. He wouldn't. But it was. There was no doubt. Mark was inside our house. And he wasn't trying to hide. He stared directly into the camera. Into us. And then the photo shifted, the live photo playing its 2-second animation. Mark lifted his hand. And showed a small, silver object. A key. A key to our home. Her breath hitched. No. I never gave him one. I swear I never. Another message. He wanted to see the truth. Then another. You told him we were nothing. Her face twisted with confusion. I never said. But the final message hit harder than all the others. He knows now. And he's waiting for you. We both stood frozen in the middle of that empty street, the cold air slicing through us. He's waiting for us? She whispered. Why? Why would he do that? I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. Because everything suddenly made sense in the worst possible way. Last Friday, I said slowly. When he followed you to the car, when he talked to you, when he stayed with you. She shook her head violently. He was just trying to help. No, I said quietly. He wasn't. She stared at me, panic rising. What are you saying? I swallowed hard. I'm saying he got attached. He thought you needed him. He thought he was protecting you from me or from Elle or from whatever story he built in his head. She covered her mouth. No. Mark wouldn't. But she didn't finish the sentence. Because she knew. Deep down she knew. Mark wasn't just watching you. I said. He was studying you. Studying us. He knew our schedules, our routines, our fights. Her breathing sped up. You think he's dangerous? I stared at the photo. At Mark holding our house key. At the wild, obsessive look in his eyes. Yes, I said quietly. Very. She trembled so hard I grabbed her before she collapsed. What do we do? She whispered. I didn't have time to answer. A car turned the corner. Slow. Silent. Dark. The SUV from earlier. We both stepped back. The SUV rolled toward us, coming to a stop halfway down the empty street. The engine idled. The windows were so tinted I couldn't see a thing. Is that him? She asked. I stared. I don't know if that's Elle, I said. But it's not Mark. How can you tell? Mark is in our house. Her knees buckled again. I grabbed her, pulling her behind me as the SUV's driver's side windows slowly rolled down. The inside was pitch black. Then a voice spoke. Not Elle's voice. Not Mark's. A different voice. Older. Calmer. Ice cold. Get in the car. My blood turned to stone. No, I said immediately. The voice didn't waver. If you want to live through tonight, it said, get in the car. My wife let out a small, terrified sound. Who are you? I demanded. No answer. Instead, the rear door clicked open. Click. Slow. Deliberate. Inviting. Or threatening. I couldn't tell which. Don't, she whispered. Please don't. The voice spoke again. You're running out of time. I'm not getting in that car. I snapped. Silence. Then. Fine, the voice said. Then you should know something. The rear door opened wider. Inside the SUV, illuminated by the dashboard's faint blue glow, was a phone. My wife's phone. Another phone. And on its screen, a live feed. Of our house. Of our hallway. Of Mark. Standing in the dark now. Holding something new. A knife. My wife screamed. I grabbed her. The voice said softly. You want answers? You want the truth? You want to stop him? I clenched my jaw. You already know the answer. The voice continued. To save her, you need me. I stared at the open door. At the dark interior. At the man whose face I still couldn't see. And then he said the one sentence that made everything inside me freeze. I know who Elle is. I felt the world tilt. You know who Elle is? I repeated. The man inside the SUV nodded once, a silhouette in the dark. I've been tracking him for months, he said. Long before she admitted what was happening. My wife swallowed hard. You've been watching me? She whispered. Watching him, the voice corrected. You led him to me. I felt my skin crawl. And who the hell are you? I demanded. Silence. Then, the only one who can stop him. The SUV's interior light flicked on suddenly. For the first time, we saw his face. Older than us. Sharp features. Gray in his beard. Eyes that looked exhausted, not dangerous. Who are you? I repeated. My name is Daniel, he said. I'm a private investigator. My wife's breath hitched. A private investigator? Why would you be involved? I never hired. I know, he said. You didn't. I frowned. Then who? He leaned forward. Your sister. Everything inside me froze. My sister? My wife whispered. Daniel nodded. She hired me 8 months ago. Said she was worried about you. Said you'd been acting strange. Paranoid. Said she caught you crying in your car outside your apartment once. My wife covered her mouth. Oh my God! Daniel continued. She thought you were being watched. She didn't know by who. So she hired me. But by the time I got close to identifying the stalker, you moved. changed routines. And then you met your husband. You got happier. Safer. So your sister told me to stop. Then why didn't you stop? I demanded. Daniel looked straight at me. Because Elle didn't. Silence. He followed her into her new life, Daniel said. He followed her into your marriage. He never stopped. My wife trembled. Why didn't you tell me this earlier? She whispered. Because I didn't have proof, Daniel said. Not enough to show you without scaring you. And then Mark started circling you. And then Elle escalated. I couldn't risk pushing him. He pointed toward her phone in my hand. He's been using a ghost app. Hiding his number. Spoofing locations. But tonight. He nodded toward the house feed still frozen on the other phone. He made a mistake. What mistake? I asked. Daniel held up another device, some kind of signal tracker. He connected to your home network for a few seconds too long, he said. I traced the signal. My heart hammered. Where is he? I whispered. Daniel met my eyes. He's not in your house. My stomach dropped. But we saw. You saw Mark, Daniel said. You saw someone manipulated. Someone set up. Someone being used? My wife gasped. But the messages were from Elle, Daniel said. Not Mark. Elle wanted you to think Mark was the threat. I stared at the frozen image of Mark holding a knife. But the knife. Daniel's jaw clenched. He's not holding it the way an attacker would. He's disoriented. His pupils are blown. He's drugged. My wife staggered. Oh God, oh God. Daniel continued. Elle put him there. Elle wanted him to look guilty. I shook my head. Why? Why set up Mark? Daniel's face darkened. For the same reason he sets everyone up. And what's that? I whispered. To isolate her, Daniel said. To make her rely only on him. My blood ran cold. He's playing a long game, Daniel said. A very long game. My wife collapsed against the SUV, sobbing. Then where is he? I shouted. If he's not in the house, where is he? Daniel looked over my shoulder. His face went pale. He's here. My wife screamed. I spun around and saw a tall figure standing at the end of the street. No car. No sound. Just standing there. Watching us. A shadow under the flicker of the street lamp. Daniel whispered. Elle. The figure under the street lamp didn't move. Didn't flinch. Didn't speak. He just watched us. Like he'd been waiting all night. My wife clung to me, shaking uncontrollably. Is that really him? She whispered. Daniel stepped beside me. Yes, he said quietly. That's him. How do you know? I asked. I've seen him before, Daniel murmured. Twice. Both times at a distance. Both times he disappeared before I could approach. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. Stay behind me, Daniel said. He reached into his jacket. Not for a gun. For his phone. He started recording. The figure finally took one slow step toward us. Just one. I shouted. Stop! He did. Then he spoke. And his voice. God. It was calm. Gentle. Almost pleasant. Hello? He said. My wife whimpered. Don't be afraid. Elle continued. I've been waiting for tonight. Daniel raised his phone higher. Don't come any closer, he said firmly. Elle tilted his head. You've been watching me for months, he said. And you still don't understand. Understand what? I demanded. Elle smiled faintly. That I never wanted to hurt her. My wife sobbed harder. You stalked her, Daniel snapped. You sent threats. You manipulated people. I protected her, Elle interrupted softly. From the people who truly wanted to harm her. Protected? I shouted. You terrorized her. He shook his head slowly. You think that was terror? He asked. No. That was warning. You don't understand the danger she was in. From who? I shouted. He pointed toward the SUV. From him. Daniel stiffened. What? I whispered. She was never safe with him watching her, Elle said. He followed her into parking garages. He stole her schedule. He photographed her from a distance. Daniel's face hardened. That's rich coming from you, he said. Elle ignored him. He stared only at her. I told you I'd always keep you safe, he said gently. And I meant it. My wife buried her face in my chest. Elle continued. But you stopped listening. You trusted the wrong people. And now look at what happened. He gestured toward the phone still showing the frozen image of Mark. Mark wasn't supposed to be there, Elle said. But he started asking questions. He started getting close. You were in danger. You drugged him, Daniel said. You put him in their house. Elle smiled faintly. Oh no, he said. He let himself in. My stomach twisted. He had feelings, Elle said. He thought you were unhappy. He thought he could fix it. But he was sloppy. He wasn't supposed to ruin my plan. And what was your plan? I demanded. Elle's eyes softened. To bring her back. My wife cried harder. To what? I asked. To us, Elle whispered. I felt sick. There is no us. I snapped. She doesn't want you. Elle's expression didn't change. She did once. That was a lifetime ago, I said. He nodded. And yet here we are. Daniel stepped forward. This ends now, he said. Police are on their way. Stay where you are. Elle smiled. Daniel, he said calmly. Always so sure of yourself. But you haven't solved anything. He tilted his head again. You don't even know the real reason I came back. And what's that? Daniel asked. Elle looked at me. Then at her. Then back at me. And whispered. To save her from what you're hiding. My heart stopped. What? I whispered. He took another step forward. You think you're innocent in all this? He asked. You think I'm the only one with secrets? I felt something inside me crack. What are you talking about? I demanded. Elle looked at my wife. Ask him, he said softly. Her grip on me tightened. Ask him about the night he came home late last month. Ask him why he lied. Ask him where he really was. My mouth went dry. What night? She whispered. Elle smiled. He knows. I shook my head. No. No, this is manipulation. He's trying to. Tell her, Elle whispered. Tell her about the woman you met. Her eyes widened. My chest constricted. There was no woman, I said. Too quickly. Too desperately. Elle smiled. And that smile. It said everything. Her fingers slipped from mine. Not violently. Not in anger. In shock. Slow, shaking disbelief. You met a woman? She whispered. No, I insisted. He's lying. He's twisting things. He's doing exactly what he did to you. Tell her, Elle said softly. Tell her where you were that night. I shook my head. There was no woman. But even as I said it, guilt clawed at my throat. Because there was a night. A night I hadn't told her everything about. A night I'd buried so deep I hoped it would never surface again. Her voice cracked. Why would he know something like that if you didn't? He doesn't know anything. I snapped. But Elle just watched. Silent. Calm. Patient. Waiting for me to crumble. Daniel stepped forward. Don't listen to him, he said. This is what he does. He creates wedges. He wants to break both of you. But she wasn't looking at Daniel. She was looking at me. tears filling her eyes. "Please," she whispered. "Just tell me the truth." I closed my eyes. And the truth clawed its way out. "I didn't meet a woman," I said quietly. Her breath shook. "But," I continued, "I did lie about where I was that night." She stepped back. The pain in her eyes gutted me. "I thought," I said, "if I told you, it would just make everything worse." Elle smiled faintly. My wife wiped her tears with trembling hands. "Why did you lie?" she whispered. I exhaled shakily. "Because I was meeting someone," I said. She flinched. "Who?" she choked. "My father." She froze. Confused. Lost. What are you talking about?" she whispered. "Your father died when you were a teenager." I swallowed hard. "That's what I was told." Silence fell like a bomb. Daniel stiffened. Elle's smile widened slightly. My wife stared at me like she didn't know me. "I found out last month," I whispered. "Your husband, the man you married, has been living with a lie his whole life. My father is alive." Her voice broke. "Oh my God!" "And I met him," I said. "I met him that night. I didn't tell you because he isn't someone I wanted in our lives." "What do you mean?" she whispered. "He's not well," I said. "He's unstable. Paranoid. Dangerous. And when I met him, he said something that terrified me." She stepped closer, despite the fear in her eyes. "What did he say?" I looked straight at her. "He said someone was watching us." Her breath caught. "And then he said a name," I whispered. Her eyes widened. "He said, Elle." She gasped. Daniel stared at me in shock. "But Elle." Elle stepped forward into the light. And for the first time, I saw the truth in his eyes. Elle whispered, "Now you finally understand." My wife covered her mouth with a trembling hand. "You're connected?" she whispered. "All along?" Elle nodded slowly. "Your husband and I," he said softly, "have been on a collision path for years. Long before either of us knew it." My stomach twisted. "What are you talking about?" I demanded. Elle looked at me. At both of us. Then said, "Your father and I were in the same facility." My body went numb. "What facility?" I whispered. Elle exhaled. "The mental health one. The one your mother hid from you." I staggered. My wife grabbed my arm, steadying me. Elle continued, voice soft, almost compassionate. "He talked about you. Every day. Obsessed with you. Terrified that someone was going to hurt you. He made me promise that if he ever failed..." Elle swallowed. "I would watch over you." My heart stopped. "And then," Elle said, looking at my wife, "you met her. And I had to protect both of you." She shook her head violently. "By terrorizing me?" Elle's eyes softened with something that looked like regret. "I made mistakes," he said quietly. "I thought scaring you would keep you away from the real threats. Mark. Your coworker. People who got too close. And the messages?" I shouted. "The stalking? The house?" "I never entered your home," Elle said. "That was Mark. Drugged. Manipulated. I only wanted proof. Evidence. To show you he wasn't safe." Daniel stepped forward. "You still broke the law. You still terrorized her." Elle nodded. "I know," he said. "And I'll face the consequences." He put his hands out, as if ready to surrender. "But not until she knows one more truth." We waited. Elle looked at her. "Everything I did," he whispered, "was to honor a promise." She shook her head. "But why me?" Elle smiled sadly. "Because the day you met him, the day you first saw your husband, you saved him. You grounded him. You gave him a reason to stop running from his past." He looked at me. "You saved him from becoming someone like me." I swallowed hard. And I, Elle said, was trying to save both of you from the darkness that still follows him. My wife sobbed. I felt something inside me crack open. Elle stepped back. The street filled with the sound of distant sirens. He raised his hands. Daniel moved to arrest him. But Elle whispered one final thing before they took him. Take care of each other. Secrets destroy. Love doesn't.